Hi guys, my name is Eperika Creation. Today we are going to make jumpsuits. These are the measurements that we'll need. Shoulder 16, bust 46, half length 17, waist 40, hip 46, tie 28, full length 60, and sleeve 12. So let's get started. So today we are going to make jumpsuits, but because I can't get my full length if I fold this fabric like this. If I fold it like this, savage to savage like this, I will not get my full length, so I will turn it to the other way. Okay, for us to know how many inches that we'll put on fold, we are going to work with thigh measurement, because thigh measurement is the biggest circumference. Because thigh measurement, thigh divided by 2, but my hip is 46 while my thigh is 28, so 46 divided by 4 is 11 and a half, but my thigh is 28, and 28 divided by 2 is 14. So we're going to work with 14. So thigh measurement divided by 2 plus 2 inches. You see, 14 plus 2 inches, 16, although I have 17 here. So for you to know how many inches that you put on fold, is your thigh measurement divided by 2 plus 2 inches. Okay, so now we're going to start. Okay, the full length of the jumpsuit is 60. So now I want to cut the lower part, and the lower part I'll minus upper part from the lower part, and the upper part is 17, because my half length is 17. So now I'll minus 60 minus 17 equals to 43. So because it's jumpsuit, I'll add 3 inches for ease, and that 3 inches I'll add it to the length of the pant. So plus 3 is 46, plus 2 inches, or depending on how you 2 inches or 1 inch or 1.5, but I added 2 inches for seam allowance to hem the pant, to hem the jumpsuit. So I have a 48. So the length of this one that I'm going to cut now, the front part of the jumpsuit, the lower part, is 48. Inches. Okay, for us to get the crotch depth, we'll divide hip measurement by 4. Hip divided by 4 is my hip is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. So 11.5 plus that 3 inches that I added to the length of the pant is 14.5. So I'll measure 14.5 from here, from this 14.5. This line is 14.5. Okay, I'll connect it. Okay, so from this point to this line is 14.5. So now on this line, I'm going to put my thigh measurements. I'm going to use another method for this jumpsuit, but it's still the same method with the one that I used on that female pant, how to make female pant. The same method that I used to get this line here is what I will use. But here now, I'll put my thigh measurement on this line, 14 inches. My thigh measurement is 14 inches. So I'll measure 14 inches. I'll measure 14 inches from this line. I'll use this line as guide. So I'll put the line here. So this line here now is 14 inches, which is half of my thigh, because my thigh is 28. My thigh measurement is 28. 28 divided by 2, because this is on fold, you can see. It's 28 divided by 2 is 14. This is the 14 inches. So I'll add my hip measurement on this line also for me to get the crush line. For me to get the crushed line, I will add my hip measurement on the same line here. So my hip is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. So I'll add 11.5 on this line. So maybe I can add from here or from this side. Well, let me do it from this side, because I'll add some allowance to this jumpsuit. So I have allowance on this side. So 11.5. So the remaining one will be the crush length is a 2.5. So I'll roll this. So you can see what I have here. The crush line here is 2.5. You can see it's 2.5. So why this one is my hip measurement 11.5. You can see 11.5. So now I want to curve it here. For me to curve it, I'll mark like 2 inches or 2.5 or 3. So then I'll use my French curve. But if you don't have French curve, you can just curve it. Okay, now I'm going to take my waist measurement. I'll take it from this line. Okay, I'm going to take my waist measurement. My waist measurement is 40. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So I'll mark 10 here. This is my waist measurement. So if you want to add that to your own, you will add 1 inch for that, then and 1.5 for seam allowance, which is 2.5. So but if you don't want that, like I don't want that, I'll just add 1.5 inches for seam allowance. I'll use 1/2 inch to join this line, then I'll use 1 on this side, so I'll add 1.5. Okay, I'm going to connect it from this one to this line. To this line, I'll connect from here to this point. And on this point, on this line, I'll add seam allowance also on this hip line here. I'll add seam allowance of 1/2 inch on this line. 1/2 inch. So all the way down up, it will be 1/2 inch for the seam allowance. Okay, I'll connect it. So I'm going to connect the line now. So from here, I'll use straight line to roll it all the way down to connect it to the end, because it's Palazzo jumpsuit. Okay. So from this point, I'll connect it all the way to the end because I want to make a palazzo jumpsuit. So I'll connect it from here. So I'm going to cut it. So the seam allowance here, I'll fold it. Before I'll cut it, I'll fold it like this. Okay. Okay. So I'm cutting off this starting point. So this is what you have. I'm going to use it to cut the second one, the back one. This is the front part. I'll use it to cut the back part. So I want to cut the back part now. I put it on top of another fabric to cut the back one. So here on the crotch here, you make sure that you have up to 3 inches because I'll add 3 inches here. This is the front part and this one is the back part. So you like here you can see I have 3 inches here, from 3 inches on this line here. I have 3 inches here. So on the upper part here I will add 2 inches on the back one, not on the front one. On the back one, see the front one, so I'll add 2 inches here. You see I have 2 inches, so you make sure that you have, so I have 2 inches here. So that 2 inches, I'll connect it to this line here. I'll connect it like this. I'm going to add seam allowance here. So seam allowance for the zip, I might take like 1 inch or 1.5. Okay, let me use 1.5 inches for zip here. I'll mark 1.5 here. One and a half inches here for seam allowance for zip. So I'll use this French curve. So I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to connect this one, the back one. I'm going to connect the line from this crush here to all the way down, because it's palazzo. Okay, so I'm going to cut it. Okay. This is the front one. This is the front one and this is the back one. So I'm going to mark the pockets. I'll take 3 inches on this side and 7 inches on this side. I'll connect it from this point to this point. You can connect it with straight ruler, you can connect it with curved one, any way you want it. This one for the pockets is 2-piece. I'll use this one for the pockets, for the 2 pockets. I cut this pocket on the front part of the pant, and this is the crush. It's not on the cross side. I cut it on the other side here. So I'm going to cut the upper part now. For us to know how many fabric that we'll put on fold, we're going to use a bust measurement. Bust measurement divided by 4. So my bust is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. So 11.5 plus 1 inch for seam allowance and 1 or 1.5 for zip. So we have enough. This one is the back one. So I want to cut the front and the back together. So I'll put this one on top. You can see where I put it because this is 1.5 inches that I marked for a zip. 1.5 inches from this line to this line all the way down. So I want to put this one here. So I'll start now. So from this starting point to this point, I have 18 inches. 17 is my half length, and the remaining one is for seam allowance. So I'm going to mark my neckline now. I'll use a neck width of 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches and neck depth of 4.5 or 5 inches. So I'm going to mark my shoulder, which is, my shoulder is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8, plus half inch, 8.5. So here I'll mark 1 inch for shoulder slope. 1 inch for shoulder slope. I'll connect it to the neck width. Okay. So from here, I'll take my round armhole. My round armhole is 18, so half of it is 9. Then, but I'll mark 8.5. I'll use 8.5. I'll use 8.5. Okay. So on this line, that's where I'll put my bust measurements. I'll take my bust measurement now. My bust is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. So this is 11.5 here. Okay, this is the line. This is 11.5 here, plus 1 inch seam allowance, 12.5. 12.5 here. So this is my waistline here, 17 inches. So here I'll take my waist measurements. My waist is 40. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So plus 1 inch for that, and 1 inch for seam allowance is 12. Okay. So I'm going to connect the armhole. Okay, the midpoint is, I want to get my midpoint here is 3 3/4 because it's 7.5. 3 3/4. Yeah. So I'll mark 3/4 here, which is 0.75. Okay. So I'll connect it with this. Then this one. Okay. So I'll connect the neckline. So I'll mark the back neckline, which is 1 inch. 1 inch depth. So I'll connect it. So this one is the back one and this one is the front one. So now I'm going to cut. Okay, that I'm going to mark my dart now. So my My nipple to nipple is more than 4 inches, but 4 inches is standard. So if your nipple to nipple is less than 4 inches or 4 inches, you will use 4 inches. But if it's more than 4 inches, you will use your nipple to nipple measurements. So my nipple to nipple is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So I'll mark 4.5 here. So here I'll mark 1/2 inch on this side, both sides. So from my shoulder, standard dart for the front part is 12 inches. But if your shoulder to nipple is more than 12 inches, you will use your shoulder to nipple. Then you go down by 1 inch. For instance, let's say that your shoulder to nipple is 12 inches, then you will use 13 inches for your darts. If it's for 13 inches, you use 14 inches for your darts. So, but my own is 10, so I will use 12 inches, which is standard. So I'll connect it. So this is for front darts. Back one, so pull it. Okay, so back dart starts from 9 inches is standard. So this is 9 inches. So here I'll mark a 1/2 inch on this side and 1/2 inch also here. I'll connect it. Okay, this is the back darts. I'll do the same on the other side when I'll sew it. Okay, now I'm going to cut it. I'll cut the back one first, then the front one. Okay, so I will now trim the front armhole. And the neckline.